What's cracking, YouTube? Shorties and shortettes of all ages and sizes and makes and models. Welcome to the EJ2 Track Rat YouTube channel. This channel is about grassroots motorsports for those of you who don't know. And if you haven't met me before, my name is Dylan. I'm an educator, a car builder, and a racer in the grassroots motorsports space. In today's episode, we're going to be going over some changes that we're making to my 1993 Honda Civic that I race with the National Autosport Association in the Super Touring 5 class. We're going to be making some modifications to the brakes particularly, and we're also going to be making some changes to the suspension. We're also going to be testing all of this stuff at the track in this video. So if you're interested in this kind of stuff, stay tuned, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and follow along. You're going to have a good time. Previously, this car was a B18C swapped 1993 Honda Civic Coupe. And as you can see, there's no longer a B series motor in this car. We got a big block Chevy. This is a K24A1 out of a Honda CR-V. Once we made some changes to this car, the car was noticeably faster, but that presented a problem for the brakes on the car. So on the front of this car, we have Wilwood Dynalite with an 11.75 by 0.81 inch rotor. I'm limited on the diameter of the wheel that I can run due to the size of the wheel wells on this car and the fact that I'm not trying to cut it up and run anything drastically different. So we put on some EP3, which is a 2003 to 2005 Civic Si, maybe 2002, rear brakes. And they've helped a little bit with the dive characteristic of the car into corners, but what they haven't done is they haven't helped slow the car down more. If you look at these rotors, you can see there's some red paint on here, and we have some temperature strips. The red paint on the rotors is to tell you what the temperature of the rotors are, to give you an idea if your brake pads are in the ideal operating range for the coefficient of friction that you're looking for. In our case, we're above 1471 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that based off of the paint on the rotor, and that's beyond the capability of the Hawk brake pads that we were running on the front of this car and also on the rear of this car. If you know anything about my race program, you'll know that I am well known for running on a budget. With that being said, the correct order of operations to fix this braking problem that I have, at least assumedly, at the front of the car would be to add more thermal mass with a bigger rotor, upgrade to a different pad compound, or switch to a different brake setup entirely. Those weren't really in the cards if I'm trying to save money. So I figured, why not try to make a brake ducting setup? Now, the correct way to make a brake ducting setup for a race car would be to use at least a 2.5 inch diameter, if not a 3 inch diameter, high temperature hose to deliver air from the front of the car to the back of the rotor, preferably in the center, so that the air going in the center of the rotor can be pumped out to the outside of the rotor. The problem with this car, being a front-wheel drive Honda Civic, is that there's not a lot of space in the front of the car to build something like this. To get a better understanding of the geometry of this rotor, I got a children's toy. This is air dry clay, and what I used this for was figuring out where the bolt holes were and any areas were that I could use for an opening to inject air into the back of the rotor. As you can tell by this old vise, this torch, and this hammer, I have always done things the old-fashioned way to make things out of metal. But now that we have 3D printing, it's so much more efficient. So what we did was we made some prototypes. So the first prototype we started out with was a very simple design. So basically we started out with this obrund. They call it an obrund. And then it goes directly to a circle, obviously. And this was making contact with the area behind the caliper in an unideal way, right? So what we ended up with eventually was something that looked like this. And this geometry is the final geometry that we're going to be using. You'll notice that this is plastic, and you'll also question whether or not plastic can withstand the temperature of brakes. The answer is it depends. A plastic such as nylon would be really good for this application. What we ended up using was a filament called PCTG. What you'll see here is the first prototype of my brake duct design in its final resting place. Now what we did was we used Gorilla Tape on the outside of this part to insulate it from any heat that it might acquire through conduction. And then the second thing that we did was we bolted it not to the caliper, which gets to 400, 350 degrees. We also didn't bolt it to, the knuckle, which also is presumably hot. We bolted it to an adapter, which is right in there, that's made of aluminum and joins the knuckle to the caliper. And then we used some holes that are already existing in that adapter, and we took bolts and nuts for the two holes here, as you can see, and then we secured the duct using those bolts and nuts and some Loctite so that we didn't have to crank down on the plastic. We didn't go with a motorsports grade hose, as you'll notice. This is a dust collection tube. It's a copper or brass reinforced tube. And we basically located it in such an area so that when it would make contact with something, it wouldn't abrade too badly and it would be isolated from heat. We made a custom bracket as well. And then that goes to the front of the bumper. Getting the front of the bumper ducting was a big challenge because we had to print a bunch of 2-inch diameter tubes, but we stuffed them through the point in the grill where I wanted to locate them. And then we figured out an angle by using a marker and played with a Dremel to get it flush within this hole. We ended up printing out probably a bunch of different angles between 60 degrees and 70 degrees. From there, we started playing with mounting tabs. So the top two mounting tabs are flush with the face of the duct, and they go here. But then this bottom part, because it curves downward like this, had to be recessed. So we played with some tools in Onshape to get that where it needed to be. We added some holes. We played with the size of the flanges. As you can see, this made contact with the bumper, and we ended up with a final geometry that looked something like this. And this was the 64-degree tube that we used to find out that 64 degrees was the final diameter that we needed. Long story short, we got this duct mounted in here, and you can see it is attached to the bumper. We used sealing RTV that you would use for general purpose stuff, and then blocked up any holes that are remaining in this to ensure that air flows into this duct. The second thing that we did was we wanted to make sure that air wouldn't go around where it was supposed to go. So you'll notice that we have some ducting tape. This is HVAC ducting tape. It is rated to withstand temperatures of something around 250 degrees Fahrenheit. This should only get to 212 degrees Fahrenheit. I've used this in the past and it works very well. So what I did was I just ducted all the way around this radiator. So basically the air only has two paths that it can go down when it's entering the car. It can go through this front grille, at which point it pressurizes the engine bay, and then we have a vent that's supposed to suck it out. And then the other path is through the brake duct. Now that we're done with our very scientific test of putting a bunch of plastic crap into the front of my car and hoping it cools my brakes and proving that with a leaf blower, let's move on to something a little less questionable, and let's get to setting up the suspension on this car for the race event that's going to be occurring this weekend at New Jersey Motorsports Park with the National Autosport Association's Northeast region. So I do know this car is rolling over too much. I looked at my AEM vehicle dynamics module, which has a gyroscope inside of it, which senses the angle of the car and tells you about how much it's rolling and how much it's pitching. And there was a lot of roll when I had this tire set up on the car. And I could soften the rear bar. That would allow the whole chassis to be a little bit more compliant. So if the front is rolling more, to avoid oversteering, we would let the rear roll more to increase compliance. But I really like the characteristics of the car, the way it turns now, or at least before this big tire. It's pretty flat, and so I want to increase the front roll stiffness. So to do that, we're going to put a bigger spring up front, but before we do that, we have to figure out what the ride height is. Now, I haven't measured this ride height since I completely took the car apart and rebuilt it, so it might be a little bit different, but the data from the track suggests that there's not really any wedge in the car, which means that it's not turning left better than it's turning right, or turning right better than it's turning left. So I think that the ride heights are pretty much where they need to be, but we're going to see where they're at now, and I'm just going to try and replicate exactly where they're at with the 1,100-pound springs that I'm going to put on the front of this car. You might be asking, well, if you're going to set ride height, why is the car on blocks of wood? Well, this allows us to get better access to underneath of the car so that we can measure from a known not bent point to the ground, and do it with a lot of clearance so that my arms don't get chopped off because it's dirt nasty low. You'll see here we have some 2x4s arranged in 3 rows, and then you'll see some vinyl right here with grease in between the 2 plates, 2 vinyl plates. And that basically allows the tires to settle down, move out, right? Because as you compress it, they're going to push out, so that we can get an accurate ride height for the car, accurate and repeatable. So we're going to bounce this car up and down, and then we're going to get the ride heights, see where it's at. It's going to be good to get this anyway because I haven't reset the ride height on this car in like 3 years. Yeah, we're going to put on these new springs. With the car on our DIY slip plates, we had to shake the chassis around to make sure that the suspension would settle, turn the wheels a little bit. And then for the non-bent portion of the car that we use to measure all 4 corners of ride height, we use the subframes, because if your subframes are bent, you have bigger problems. Then, of course, because the shock is combined with the spring, we had to take the shock body out, take the remote reservoir out. That's right, I'm fancy. I have remote reservoirs. This was not fun, but the shocks have not been out all season. They are dirty. They have not been rebuilt yet, so it was a good opportunity to do some inspecting. Used my trusty bird crock as a stabilizer, busted the nut open, pulled the spherical top hat off, and this upper spring perch gave me some trouble. It was where the helper spring was resting, and I had to kind of get my fingers in there to make it slip off, but we eventually got it. Took the rest of the springs off, and then we gave the shock body a little bit of a clean and replaced with a new spring, the 1,100-pound spring. We measured from the bottom of the spring perch to black and gold interface on the tube of the shock. That's going to give us where the perch was sitting at prior to adjusting anything. That's going to allow us to reset the ride height if we need to and put the 1,000-pound springs back on. We also measured all of the ride heights. We did not subtract the height of the blocks and the vinyl plates, but that's fine for now. It went up roughly 3 to 4 millimeters in total on the front when we put the 1,100-pound springs on. So I'm covered in sweat, but I'm making really good progress, so why not keep going? What we're going to do is, instead of trying to lower the front left corner and then the front right corner to get it perfect and blah, we're just going to turn both of the collars an equal amount of turns. So we're going to start out with 1 turn on both sides and see what that does to the ride height. I don't have heat or AC in my garage, so eventually the shirt did come off, but we got it down with 1.5 turns on both sides, and the toe checked out perfectly. Another day. We are in the garage right now, and we're in the process of getting everything ready. So we have, spares, we have tools, we have an e-bicycle, and that's for the paddock. So we're just getting everything ready. The plan is to go down to Mike Waller's house, who is the owner of Wind Shadow Studios. If you need photography or videography done at your automotive racing events, please hit him up. He's really talented. He does all my work. I am going to be running in the Trek race, which is NASA's endurance racing series. So I'll be running in a Spec 3 for 60 to 90 minutes. So an hour to an hour and a half, something like that. It's going to be Alex Rubenstein's car. So Alex is the guy that we featured in one of our last videos, Ruben Performance Garage, who has all of the race cars and the endurance racing team. And we're also going to be testing this piece of art. Then we're also going to be racing it in SD5 Saturday and Sunday. It's been a full day of preparation, getting this car loaded. It's almost always the same story, and I always seem to be surprised. This is one of those moments where having an enclosed trailer would help a lot, because I could keep like a dedicated setup, you know, dedicated tools. I could keep my Easy up in there, track supplies, e-bike. There's a lot of stuff that has to be loaded and unloaded when you're preparing for the track. So it's almost always like an all-day affair, whether I split it up in 1 day or 2 days. It's always so. Anyway, Hoss, Civic, Chevy, Dylan. Apologies for not having a better view, but I was too lazy to get my gimbal. We're all set up. We got the tent, we got the trailer unhooked, we got all the tools that we're gonna leave outside, left outside, and we got everything else organized pretty well inside of the truck. Man, that 90s vibe, bro. Well, this is early 2000s, but you know what I mean. It's that vibe, that old school vibe. So I need bug spray, and I also need sunscreen. And then I'm gonna head over to Mike Waller's house from Wind Shadow Studios, and I'm gonna sleep there. Some Miata party over here.
Oh yeah, it's a gang party.
How many people does it take to install a
Garmin catalyst?
Gerbil's catalyst? All right, y'all. So we did some volunteering this morning and helped with tech inspection for the cars, and now we're out here. I forgot that I was sponsoring this event. My business was sponsoring this event, so I opted to spend some more time with the car instead of helping with some of the volunteer activities after making sure that they were all covered on people for the day. But yeah, we got Dan over here with his mobile alignment business getting set up. He's getting ready to take care of our buddy John, this RX-8. This is an endurance racing car. And I'm going to be going out, I think at like 10:40 or something like that. It's 9:40 or so right now. I'm not going to be putting a lot of wear on the car. I'm just testing some things, and we're going to see where it goes from there. We came back in from our last session. The car definitely has pace. The spring change definitely worked. It's a little loose mid-corner after the tires come up to temperature, so I'm thinking that maybe it has a little bit too much roll still up front, but I'm not quite sure, and I'm not really sure where I want to go with making a change. I'm thinking I could do a shock change for now. Anyway, we did get to test our new brake ducts, and surprise, surprise, they are not brake ducting anymore. The good news is I had to rip them off. Bad news is they very clearly did not survive. So we're going to pull them off, and we know that our prototype, at least the tube didn't break up, so that's fine. But we know that our prototype didn't work. So that's fine. We're going to plug those up, plug up the holes, and then we're going to try a different rotor on this car. We have some curved vane rotors, which are over here in the box of wonders. And I also got asked if I wanted to help test out a different car. So I'm going to go over and see when Alex wants me to drive that number 20 car, which is a S54 swap D36 we talked about in one of my other videos. Yeah, this car, the changes mostly worked, except for the brake duct. Yo, check it out. Hey, not bad. It didn't melt off. Look at that. Wow. So I'm not a total hack, I promise. Peace, my peace I bring you. I forget what they say in church. Anyway, I'm in pit lane right now. It was a very busy day. Started out the morning volunteering. Got like 2 hours of sleep, and I started driving my car, but then the brakes didn't work, so I had to change them. Then I had to help Alex with some data review on his car. Then he wanted me to drive it. I'm never going to turn down the opportunity to drive something, so of course I drove it, and then I jumped right back into my car. So I'm very tired. And now we're doing an endurance race where I'm going to drive an hour and a half, probably middle stint. So Alex is going to run the car until it's done with fuel, and then I'm going to run the middle stint. He's going to run the last one. Wow, that's really fancy, Tim. I'm protesting you. That's way too fancy. Show me. That's way too fancy. What's up, Gerald?
Oh, and it matches.
From the first event with a great finish in first place, Team A-Ball Racing.
Woo! Woo! That's
We got to get it. No?
If you guys get a chance, go check out that car. Beautifully prepared.
We need a picture. Come.
Come on, all the team, go. All the drivers. Oops.
dog.
And so
Doggy.
track 4 was the
Some shots.
There it is.
It's on video, so it's just. Cool.
I mean, I know your car.
It's the trailer next to that car.
I think I would park the trailer somewhere else. I have a couple of leads.
Alex! Let me pull the brake.
It's interesting with the data too. I feel like
Hello, and welcome to me wearing a hat. This is day 2. Trek went well. We won in our class. There wasn't really a lot of cars in our class, but we did get second overall. And there wasn't really a lot of cars overall, but it's okay, I guess. We're gonna go to the driver's meeting pretty soon. We got Alex all stationed up. I'm all stationed up. We got Hoss Jr. stationed up. And we're gonna go to the driver's meeting where everybody folds their hands and asks questions about things that are already in the rule book. And then they go, oh, I was just asking. Just want to make sure.
It's not a GDM, it's USDM.
Okay, first session of the day. We're gonna be doing practice soon in like 15 minutes. So I'm getting suited up in my gear. The car is basically all ready to go. We have all of the HFGT, Hyperfest GT stickers on the car. Oil's all topped off. The tire pressures, we're gonna check them when we come off the track. The wheels are all torqued, but we've got gas in the car, so I'm ready. All right, Alex, what are you doing over here?
Putting ice in my little dingleberry box.
Dingleberry box.
Yeah, shout out to Kenneth Martinez for discovering the Breg Polar Cube, which is, I think, the cheapest way to do a cool suit, maybe.
Breg Polar Cube. Polar Care Cube.
But it do work, you know?
It do be working. Dan, how do you feel about life right now?
I'm going pretty good. Saturday at the track. It's been a little slow, but helping the boys out, get the Hondas out.
Did someone crash again?
I hope not.
Sounds pretty quiet. It's awfully quiet.
Too quiet.
Check this guy out, guys. This is why racing is cool. Because you can stand around with a little dongus like this.
All right, y'all, so we did our qualifying and we ended up P4 out of 14 cars. So the theme for this year, it's where the car keeps ending up. There's a lot of cars out there. There's something, I think, 45 cars in our race group. So the name of the game for the race is going to be traffic management, which is something that I think I'm good at. Now, with that being said, there are a lot of people that are out of region. And one of the things that happens when you have new drivers that are experienced, new drivers to your region who are experienced, or just drivers who don't know each other in general, is you get a little bit additional aggression. So it's about metering your expectations and metering your aggression, right? Because there are some times where you need to throw that Hail Mary or make that dive bomb to get a position. But if you do it every time, people will start to notice that, and then they'll put a target on your back, and then you get cut no breaks as a result. With that being said, we did run a 129.6, which is like, it's okay for this car. The fastest lap was 128 flat, which is crazy. Umar Selik is driving. He got P1 from qualifying, and that's crazy lap time. So we're gonna see what we can do with this car. The changes are great, right? It feels much more balanced with that stiffer front spring, and the brakes are much better too. But I actually boiled the brake fluid in practice because now that I'm generating more heat on the front end of this car, the Walmart brake fluid cannot take it. It's gonna be a fun one. Instead of making it 4 wide into turn 1 on the start, I gave Umar a push. And then on the restart, I misinterpreted the rules and jumped the start. This allowed me to lead the race for a little while, but that didn't last long. I don't really have much for these BRZs in the corners, and as a result, they eventually ended up catching me and passing me, putting me back into P3 before I was penalized for the jump start and kicked back to P4.
Track rat.
Sunset, sunset, sunset. Just like we're sunsetting this day. So, the race went I drove the crap out of the car as usual, but I technically jumped the start per the race director's discretion, and the penalization wasn't really that egregious either. And when I say egregious, I mean like impactful, right? I don't mean egregious in terms of like morals or ethics, or feelings or whatever. But yeah, so finished P4 out of 14 cars, not too bad. The good news is my boy Alex, the other Honda driver out there, well, the other front wheel drive Honda driver out there, he got P2.
Brother, are you fucking kidding me? Stick it in your pants like he did. Bro, stick it in your pants, dude. What are you?
There you go. There you go. Because of all of the jump start drama that happened, a lot of people followed my lead. So you can call me a trendsetter. Call me a trendsetter. But the car was okay. The changes that we made really did make a big difference, which is very important. And it was a relatively easy to drive car that allowed me to just, you know, it was good. It is a beautiful night, y'all. It is an absolutely beautiful night. I'm excited to shower up, but yeah. Astra, you just love love. Yeah, you do. So many dogs.
She's so young. She's only 18 months old.
I thought they were the same color scheme too.
Huh?
They're the same color.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that was interesting. So we went out in the HFGT race, and so we made a little bit of contact here. Oh man, it's a little bit annoying. I didn't really get to assess the damage yet, so that sucks. I'm just seeing that now. But whatever, it's unfortunate. It's a racing incident. Alex over here has a very loose car, so he's trying to fix that right now. And because he had a loose car, he spun in front of the other Alex, who is in one of the ST5 BRZs, one of the many fast ST5 BRZs. And so that forced the other Alex to go off the course to avoid wrecking. And I was able to take advantage of it and climb up into third place. In the qualifying race, I started in like 5th or 6th, I think 5th. But I'm not imagining that it's going to be anything more than a 4th place. We're trying, y'all. We're trying. It's a challenge. All right, we got Jay over here. Some of you may remember him from the video of me pulling a free motor out of a wrecked CRV. We got Bradfield over here. Bradfield, are you going home?
Yeah, we're packing it up. We killed an axle in the HFGT race. Brake pedal got soft going into one, so we're gonna cut our losses and take it home in one piece.
That's good. Well, it's sort of in one piece, right? You had like an incident on one
we had
side.
Some contact in warm up yesterday. It took out like 4
A contact for everybody. Yeah, oh, that's good. That's good. Not only did Alex have problems with his car being very loose in the qualifying race, but I did as well. I just didn't spin out. So normally when I have an issue like that with the balance of the car at the track, I try to fix it with the simple stuff first. Tire pressures, shocks, but I had maxed both of those out. So I put the car up on the leveling blocks and I changed the rear sway bar. This change was a nice little sprinkling of confidence for a door-to-door battle for P3 with David Graver. David is in the black BMW 1 Series in front of me, and in front of him is Alex Krochik in a white BRZ. So that's P3 and P2 in front of me, and we're all trying to get through a scary gaggle of spec E30s at the same time. That's one of the best parts about multi-discipline sports car racing, is you got to figure out how to get through traffic without messing up your race or your car. It's really my favorite part about racing in general. The traffic did end up eventually working out in my favor until a little wrench got thrown in the spokes at the end of the race. That's right, the big bad BMW got me. With the car that was looking a little bit more beat up than when I brought it to the track, it was time to head home. I was happy with the P4, considering I tried to give the position back to Dave to recover whatever tires and brakes I had left, but shortly after, I lost my brake pads into turn 1, and then on the next lap, I lost my brake pedal. So I'm just glad that I didn't wreck the car, and I was able to bring it home in one piece. Well, that doesn't look right. That doesn't look right one bit. I hope you all enjoyed this video and my attempts to make my car stop. The new brake upgrades definitely made the car stop a lot better. Until I apparently put the pistons of my calipers through the backing plates of my pads. That did not go so well. So that'll explain why I boiled the fluid, because maybe I didn't boil it. Maybe it was just leaking out of the front left brake caliper. It's also fun. I really can't complain. 2 P4 finishes. We're really, in a gunfight with a knife over here. Say what you want. Those BRZs and E36s are pretty potent cars. But I'm happy. Don't think that the brake ducts worked. Don't think that the DTC 80s will be a long-term solution for this car. But at least we're driving it, and at least we're having fun. Anyway, y'all, if y'all like what you see, including my sweaty butt, go ahead and give me a like. Drop a comment below, tell me how bad I am at nut and bolting my car in between sessions to catch my pistons going through the back of my brake pads. And don't be afraid to subscribe, it costs you nothing. and I really appreciate y'all taking the time to watch this video. Until then, DJ 2 Track Rat, out.